Welcome to the Action Shooting Show. Tonight we have Mr. Mike Ford with me, and we are going to be doing a after action here on the 2025 Legion Memorial Running Gun. That took place a little bit different. Normally that is September. They used to be September 11th around that weekend. Then it switched to Labor Day weekend, and some things happened with the range kind of last minute that fell through at where it's been the last like 4 or 5 years. And this year they had to move it to Cedar Creek Precision and Kentucky. And it ended up being the like first weekend of December, which is much, much different weather than your normal September Legion, which tends to be, in my experience, pretty mild. Even when it's hot, it's not like August hot. So this was certainly a change this year. It was not hot. So I shot it on RO day. It was actually pretty good. I mean, around 45 degrees. Mike shot it on competitor 10K day. He stepped off first person off the line at around -2 with the wind chill. And I think the whole day we were ROing, it never got above like 15 or 20. So it was cold. So Mike, you want to give us a quick, you've shot every one of these now since the first year. Give us a quick match flavor type deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So Legion Memorial Running Gun is a partnership with active and retired members of 5th Special Forces Group and the Special Forces Association Chapter 38, and some of the civilian match directors to create a match to memorialize and honor the fallen members of 5th Special Forces Group. This Special Forces Group is a very storied and historic group in the U.S. military with service going back, with roots clear back in the OSS and World War II. They had heavy combat in Vietnam, and many of the Green Berets served in SOG units as well. And they were the first Special Forces group to go boots on the ground in the war and terror in 9/11. So that they've had a lot of loss over the years, and to have this match, it's a chance to memorialize and have the Gold Star families, the children, the wives, the parents, uh, see that their loved ones might be gone, but not forgotten. And it's a chance for active and former unit members to also uh, have an opportunity to memorialize their friends and brothers in arms. And it's a very unique opportunity because those of us in the civilian world get for a weekend to be part of that family, and to whether it's paying for a match slot and coming out and finding about the men being memorialized that year, um, or honoring friends that we've lost with our runs. So all the stages are based around combat action that members of this Special Forces group, and clear back to the OSS roots, have experienced. So stages have a heavy military influence. Um, you'll see simulated like IED attacks, ambushes. You'll be expected to fight your way through, maybe do radio communications, do combat casualty care. Um, it's been highlighted, especially now that the matches become more popular. The chems games, the challenges, whether you're gathering intel and having to say certain phrases at certain times with role players on the course, or maybe you're tracking teams as they're moving through villages or planning uh, 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 exfiltration routes. The match definitely goes back to its military roots, and the stages and the challenges reflect this. It's definitely near and dear to my heart, as well as many others, um, as some of us have been through every match since the beginning. Unfortunately, now we have friends that started the match that are no longer with us, and so it's an opportunity to gather together and remember those friends and yeah, I don't want to ramble, but it's tough to convey the match flavor and why it means so much to so many.
Yeah, it's a very heavy match at times. I don't want to sound like it's all doom and gloom because it is a great match. It's fun, you get to hang out with a lot of people. But there are those sombering moments where you're really, especially the beginning of the safety brief and stuff. Um, and I don't have the exact one, but so this is one of our friends. They gave these out a couple years ago, but you also pick a um dog tag out, and every competitor runs with a dog tag on the course. That's someone who's lost their life and no longer with us. And so that's a real sombering thing to kind of take on the course, give you a little extra motivation. It's kind of a practical thing for the match. There's a 5K and a 10K division. 5K, I believe, had 5 stages. 10K has 8 stages. Um, as Mike said, there's some Intel stuff throughout it, and this year was no exception. Besides for that, the only divisions you have light fighter, which is there's no real restrictions. Just bring whatever you need to get through the stage. If the round count is 97 rifle and 97 pistol, if you want to bring 97 of each of those and be as lightweight and have as felt as possible, you can absolutely do that. You're probably gonna have a bad time going that light, going like the exact round count, but there's nothing else. The next one is operator. This used to be called Tier 1. They got rid of their operator vision, just call this operator now, and it is a 45-pound ruck, and that does not count your rifle, pistol. So it doesn't count your rifle, your pistol, or your web gear. So if you got like a plate carrier or plates count, but if you have like a chest rig or something like that, that does not count towards it. So me and Mike both did the operator division, which is kind of our normal division here. And as I just kind of get out of the way now, Mike was able to secure a first place at operator, and that's his, I think, third or fourth win. He's had at least 2 operators, I think. There you go. He got an awesome trophy, custom made knife on that. The thick
Background
claymore.
blurring is not helping at all, is
Yeah,
it?
very cool. I end up coming in third. That's my highest finish in a running gun. So very stoked about that. The match weekend went really well for me, but we're gonna get into it. And the first thing we're gonna talk about is when you leave, and I'll probably get a better picture up, but I'm gonna hold this up to the camera right now. When you are leaving, they give you a map and they give you some instructions. You can get a pen as well. I always have like a Sharpie on me, and they gave you your team that you were. So um there's Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, and that was the team that you were focused on. They do 3 of them, so if you came up at something or someone was finishing at the same time as you couldn't just copy their answer. It was going to be different for each one. And I'll read you here. You are assigned to an assault team. Use the map provided. You are to gather intelligence found on the movements to determine which of the 3 routes on the map your team should use to leave the objective area. So it said you should take the map with you. You should have something on your person capable of writing on the map. Intelligence drops will be found along the movement. Only use the intelligence that's associated with your assault team. And if you did not complete this, it was adding 20 minutes onto your runtime if you didn't complete it successfully. I will post a picture somewhere in here of what those intelligence just along the route. They're not hidden; they're way in plain sight. They just had a little sign, and it say Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and it gives specific information for your team. And then at the end, they ask you like which exfil route you're supposed to take. Um, I was and I could be remembering this wrong. I was Bravo, and I think my answer was maybe the yellow route, if I remember correctly. It ended up being right. So I I'm not going to go through like what all I figured out to find that. If you followed along, for the most part, it was obvious. I know Matt said a couple of the military guys had some beef with the answers based off real world stuff that they'd run into. Do you know last name, Mike?
Not off the top of my head. Not sure he would want it shared though.
That's true. Good call on that. Um, there's a guy that does this stuff for them that kind of sets all these things up. So we appreciate what he's done the last couple years. There's been some ups and downs, some really hard, some a little more doable, but I think he does a great job at that. So starting off, you take off on the course. As always, you're following yellow ribbon to the stages. You get to stage 1, and that is in honor of SSG Brian Leroy Bucher. And that's a Medal of Honor recipient. And with this, there's a whole lot of information on him. I'm not going to share it all. Look him up online if you're interested. All these guys have done amazing things. But it says in this stage, eliminate enemy bunkers despite heavy crossfire.
All right, get your grenades ready. Oh, you're hit.
You're hit, you're hit. Get down, contact, get down.
Crawl. Get it in there. All right, you're hit, you're good. Go to the rifle.
Hit. 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 Is that it?
I'll share this one. This was an interesting one. They handed you 2 grenades, and you had to stow those somewhere on your body. And what you did was on the beep, you had to neutralize like 5 or 6 pistol targets, kind of up close, nothing real crazy. I mean, great meatball targets, fairly easy. Once you did that, you hot holstered. You ran kind of laterally, to the right, and there was 2 bunkers that were enclosed that you had to throw your grenades in. So you can't and they're small port openings, so you can't just toss them from a distance. You pretty much got to go in and drop them in there. So you drop the first one as you're heading to the second one, and this was a surprise to me. I didn't know this was coming. Someone kind of behind you says, despite heavy crossfire, starts pelting your lower extremities with a paintball gun. I just think I still have, a couple weeks later, I still have the remnants of some bruises from it, but they got my leg pretty good, on each side. Once you get shot, they start yelling, get down, crawl. So you kind of crawl up to the other bunker, throw it in. Once you do that, you had a series of 4 rooms that were up close, and then 5 or 6 targets that were 100 to 150 yards probably. And if I
It was
remember
inside 200.
all inside 200. And if I remember, they were not necessarily, were these the ones with coyotes and stuff? Like they were.
I think that there might have been like some small coyote silhouettes
Yeah,
and
and
then some
then
small like silhouette targets. The big thing though is even though they were inside 200 yards, they were scaled down to the point they were not give me targets. You needed to aim um, and be steady, or you would not get your impact.
Yeah, you had a good outcropping of rock right there that you were behind. They had like a white spray paint mark on it, that you had to shoot from that area. It was pretty stable, so it wasn't like you were trying to get, make a good position off like something rickety. But as Mike said, you had to respect the targets. They weren't just, the pistols were meatballs. These were not big meatballs that you could just close your eyes and, wing it in that direction.
Yep. It was a good stage. It was a balance of speed and accuracy. The speed was getting through the pistol targets quickly and not getting bogged down there. Taking care of those throoms and not getting bogged down there, and then switching over to the accuracy, and it was a good stage for throttle control. And they amped you up with that point blank paintball gun um, well enough that if you did not have self control, you were going to not perform well. It was an excellent stage.
Yeah, I mean, I felt it when I got hit by it. I don't know that it really affected my shooting because it wasn't like it was. I mean, it wasn't like I was getting shot by an AK-47 where I'd have that kind of pain going on. It stung a little bit, and then I threw the grenade, and it was out of my mind, and I was on to the next thing, and I really didn't mind. The thing with a lot of the stages here was you shot down in this kind of big empty field and targets were spread out a little bit, so it wasn't always super obvious where all the targets were. So they weren't hidden necessarily, but they weren't just like, oh, it's right there.
You might need to shift your position once or twice to find all the targets and neutralize them, which also means you needed to be a competent enough shooter to, when I do shift, be able to track the target array and know what I've already engaged, which can be difficult when there's some stuff hidden behind brush. That's definitely the mark of a more experienced shooter.
Yep, and we'll run into that theme more at this match. So from there, the next stage was not too far away. I mean, we're talking a minute or two jog. Um, you know, just down the way. So this was CW2 Stanley L. Harriman. And in this stage, fight through an attack on your vehicle, push forward no matter what. I thought the production on this stage, I believe this was built by Jason Agee, who we know from, back in the 3-gun days. But I'm going to let Mike explain this. But where you start and what happens at the beginning, and if you haven't watched yet, I've already got like a video up of all these stages. I was able to, I picked up a GoPro, had people video me on most of them. I did miss a couple because either the GoPro got messed up and they just took like time-lapse pictures or I just forgot to hand it to them. But I got every video kind of linked together so you can see the real thing. But Mike, why don't you tell them about this stage? Because I thought the production was really cool.
Upon the signal, you'll draw your pistol. You'll engage the 10 pistol still in front of you from within the vehicle.
Okay.
Instead of hit, I will call a number 1 through 10. When I get to 10, you will clear your pistol, place it in the seat beside you.
Okay.
Leave the vehicle with your rifle. There's a rope on your right and a rope on your left. Make your rifle ready and engage the 10 rifle still on the hillside.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right, so I'm starting in here.
Yes, sir.
I'm drawing my pistol. I am neutralizing all 10 of these. You're going to count each one as I hit it.
Yes, sir.
Up to 10. Once I get 10, drop magazine. Do I have to clear it?
Clear it.
Clear right gun pistol. Set it in the seat. Get out, run between these lines up to, I'm guessing like where there's rocks and stuff. Is as far forward as I can go?
Your call. That's a good spot.
Okay. And then there's 10 targets out there, and you'll count them out.
Yes, sir.
As well. I got it.
Shooter says he understands the course of fire. Please stand by. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, clear. One. Two. Three. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nine. Right side above the road.
Right side above the road. Oh.
10. Unload, show clear rifle, please.
The production on this stage was fantastic, and this is part of what sets certain Legion stages apart from other matches. So they had a car that was set up with an IED simulator, so it used compressed air and it was set up where the engine bay would normally be. So they set you into the passenger seat, and once the attack started, the car would rise up quickly and drop. And then there was also this white powder that blew up and created
I
just
think
kind of
it was flour. I think it was just white flour they had in little tubes. But yeah,
yeah. I'm not sure what it
I
was.
saw it pour in there.
Yeah, so but they had that come up, so it filled the air. And I mean, it kind of reminded me of like when you have an airbag go off. It's that same like talcum powder almost stuff, so flour, and it goes over you, the guns. It clouds your view for a few seconds, and then you had to engage. I believe it was 10 of the gunfighter solution pistol plates. I think they're probably like a 10 by 6 or in there. I know Matt had a couple different sizes out there, and they were spread in such a way that you had to shift around. And then there were some partial ones where you would end up um, with maybe a third of the plate that you needed to hit because the rest of it was obscured by the plate in front of it. So it wasn't 10 give me's. There was some some accuracy requirements to get all your hits. I know that one of them I shot and then had to shoot again because I had just caught the plate in front of it and had to lean just a little bit harder to catch the plate behind it. Once you had engaged and cleared all the pistol targets, you had to clear and set your pistol in the driver's seat, and then they had moved your rifle, if I remember, up to no, maybe it was.
On
I'm
RO
trying to remember where
day,
the
yeah, on
rifle
RO
was.
day, I kept it in the car because I actually just laid it in like the floorboard next to my feet. But sometimes things change from
Yeah,
RO day to competitor day depending on who's running it and what's going on. So
yeah. I'm drawing a blank. It was either on me or it was up slightly in front, and I had to go to it. But you know what? I think it would have had to be on me
yeah,
because
you're
of where the
probably
stage
thinking
was.
7 they took your gun.
Yeah. So you proceeded out, went through the target array that you had just engaged, just kind of offset beside it, which is probably why I had the gun with me. And then there was a cut down into this open field that you could probably see out to 250 max. I think it was all probably less than 250. Um, and there was some logs and rocks. It looked like maybe like someone had dropped like a dozer blade and just pushed it. And from that position, you had to engage. Man, there was a lot. There was like 10 targets out in this field spread around. And it was, again, one of those things where I was pretty fortunate and picked a position that required, I think, only one shift, small shift to be able to engage all the targets. But if you pick the wrong position on this barricade pile, you could have been moving all over to find the targets and engage them. Um, I'd like to say it's skill. It could have been just a little bit of luck. Generally, as I'm coming into a position like that, I'm looking at where the targets are and where I'm going to position myself to try to get as many of them as possible. So maybe a little bit of both. Again, the targets were not give me's. You had to respect them, and so I was fortunate to go just about 1 for 1 on all those targets. But it would have been very easy if you were rushing and not respecting them to drop shots and cost yourself quite a bit of time. This was from, as Ryan said earlier, the production value. It was an excellent stage, very cool. Um, yeah, I won't ramble anymore.
Yeah, and this was one I got a position, and then it wasn't maybe the best position. I shifted. The only other time I had to move was I ended up kind of standing up because I had 9 targets and I knew there was 10, and it took a second of getting my head up out of the scope, kind of standing up, surveying the field, and then seeing, oh, there's the target, and then getting back down and shooting it. So this is, again, there's stuff kind of everywhere, and depending on where you're at, it's really easy to lose track of one. So yeah, there was 10 pistol, 10 rifle on that one. I do remember that because he counted them out as you hit them. So from this stage, you actually had a pretty good haul to the next stage, to stage 3. There was a lot more elevation in this match than I was expecting. Just I like to, I think I've got one here. Yeah, here we go. I can pull. I like to kind of survey where I'm going to be running and get some topo maps and stuff like that, and kind of get a lay of the land. And when you look at the elevation lines, there's hills and stuff, but there were some pretty good climbs that I was surprised to have. So stage 3, this was SSG Justin R. Whitting. And it says, in this stage, SSG Whitting ran through a minefield, pulled a vehicle off trapped soldiers, provided aid, and got them on a helicopter to Xville. Good luck trying to be just a 10th of the man SSG Whitting was. It's going. Just point it at me, and my ass is my better side.
Oh, make sure I look skinny, okay?
Exactly.
My pants are a little baggy. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Stand by.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Victim on the right needs a tourniquet on his left leg. He needs 1 turn on the windlass. His left leg.
Okay.
The next victim has a sucking chest wound on his right pec.
Sucking chest wound. Right.
What can you use to seal it with? What else do you need?
Tape. Okay. Right. Chest. Burp, burp. We need a medevac.
Get him to the chopper. Torso and butt need to be on the table.
Way to do it. Sorry, buddy.
You dropped him on the landmine, but you didn't trip him. Oh, he just like laid him on the landmine.
That would have been a bad day.
Like, ooh!
One mouth.
Sorry about your luck. You got 1 enemy approaching. Give me a hit with 1 pistol shot. Hit.
Is that it?
101.89.
Hey.
I may have given you that hit.
And that absolutely is the case. So this was a fun stage. This was actually my best stage of the weekend. I ended up second on it, I guess, because it was very little shooting. But on the beep, you ran to 2 rescue Randys on the ground, and The RO's kind of yelling at what you need to do. So they had some stuff there. He yells, you have to put a tourniquet on the right leg of the first guy. Get it on there right, give it one high and tight, one quick turn around. And then once that's done, he said, sucking chest wound on the other. So I see a plastic bag there. I grab a plastic bag. I need tape. So I grab tape. So you go and he tells you what chest, what size chest, like left or right. So, you're looking down, figuring out it's the backwards of whatever. Yeah. So I tape the plastic on there. I gave it a quick burp because, it's a sucking chest wound. You got to burp it. Then you got to run, grab the radio, and call for a medevac. So I just picked it up. We need a medevac. Toss it down. Then you got to get both rescue Randys. Now, one of them's got 2 legs blown off of it, I guess. The other one's like a full, the whole body. You have to get both of those over to a platform they built, which is um,
Helicopter.
your helicopter to get them out. So if anyone's moved those rescue Randys, I mean, these were not light ones. They're still every bit of 100, 150 pounds. Drag them over there, move them on. What they didn't tell you completely is there's a bunch of clays on the ground around, and those are mines. So if you step on the clay, you stepped on a mine. That's a penalty, or I don't know. I accident. What happened, Mike? Do you remember what
Oh,
they
I
said?
said right. When I believe they said through the minefield. I'm not sure that they really elaborated beyond just through the minefield.
Yeah.
But I know from past Legion events and other running guns that clay pigeons on the ground has been mines. So I was able to key into those pretty quickly as I moved into the area to do the combat casualty care.
Yeah, I dropped one, but it didn't break the mine. So I got lucky there. Like I tried to lift the smaller one. I tried lifting up. I managed to get it up and I started moving, but it's just such awkward dead weight that it was like, I was like, this is stupid. I just need to drag this. So like when I tossed it down, I guess it was like right next to a mine and it missed it. So I kind of lucked out there. So once you get both the bodies and torsos up on the helicopter, um, they yell, enemy incoming, and you have to draw your pistol and put one shot on a steel plate. That was the ending of the stage. So, very cool stage. I think I ended up second on that. Um, what were your thoughts, Mike?
I liked it. I tend to enjoy the casualty care type stages. I think that it's a good reminder that while we enjoy the shooting games and the simulation, that there's other skills that we need to have to be competent shooters and competent protectors. And so I really like that one. The rescue Randys are always a humbling thing. I'm floating just over 200 pounds and have been for years. Run a fair amount, ruck a fair amount, lift fairly regularly. And still, every time I grab one of those things, I'm just reminded of the fact that it's a very physical thing to try to move a rescue Randy. So if you're actually doing legitimate combat casualty care, um, you're going to have to absolutely give it your all, especially if you've got someone in full kit. Um, it was fun too. They said his left leg, and I'm looking down at him. And, so I had to do the second to cross the wires of his, not mine, his, and get it on there. And then being first runner out, when I got to the dummy, the Randys, when I went to do chest seal, my Randy was covered in frost, and so I think I made. I got tape to stick to the top and the bottom and like to seal the bag, but I think I ended up trying like 3 or 4 separate times to get the tape to stick to the chest before the RO said, yeah, that's good enough. So it definitely hurt me on time. But I mean, you absolutely have to think if you're dealing with a legitimate chest wound, that there is no guarantee that anything is going to stick easily
Blood.
for the first time,
Yeah,
and
blood everywhere.
you have to push through and try to come up with a solution. And I think that's just kind of a constant theme in the Legion match is pushing through, whether it's fighting a stage prop like Frost on a Rescue Randy chest, or someone getting lost, or a gun malfunction. We're there uh, remembering people that they put out their maximum effort until their last breath for their country, their brothers in arms, the men that were there with them. And so if it's just a match, we have no excuse why we shouldn't be putting our all into it as well as a tribute to those men. So yeah, sorry, starting to ramble again. Great stage. I think that sometimes you don't have to have a whole bunch of gunfire to make a good stage.
Agreed. And I'll do just a short aside. So it would have been like, I think 3 years ago, they had a stage at Legion where after this was off the clock, but you had to lift the Rescue Randy. And I think it was like 190-pound Rescue Randy. At that point, I was probably 165 pounds. You had to lift the Rescue Randy into the back of a Jeep after the fact. And it about killed me doing that at that point. And that was kind of the sign for me. It's like, hey, you've been rucking some, like, it's not that you're like fat and out of shape, but like you need to build some muscle. And I started getting in the gym after that. And I'll tell you that it's been Rescue Randy's. I'm still in the gym and I'm still trying to get stronger, but Rescue Randy's have continued to get easier and easier. Just to pick that one up and move it a couple years ago, I don't think I would have been able to do that. Even the heavier one now, it would be awkward, but I'm sure I could pick it up, if I absolutely had to, because I pick up more than that deadlifting. I squat more than that when I'm, doing back squat. That's just these exercises. They help in life, and I wouldn't be able to do that. I gotta be able to carry my whole family if they need me to carry all of them. So 3 kids and a wife. I still got some work to do on front and back squat. So just the takeaway, there's the shooting stuff we do at these matches, and we go, oh, I need to practice my pistol. I suck at pistol, or my weak hand or my strong hand. If I go weak shoulder rifle, I suck. That's all good takeaways and lessons. But sometimes the lesson is like, wow, my strength is not where it needs to be able to protect myself and my family. I better get in the gym and put some heavy things, lift them up and put them back down on the ground. So, hopefully you guys get motivated in matches like this to find bits of your, self-improvement just for life. So enough of that ramble. 4 was where you headed to next. Again, it was a little further away. It wasn't super far, but you did have some wandering to getting
This is the
there.
farthest end of the property.
Yes. Yep. Pretty much. Well, that or 4 or 5, one of those two. But yeah, you're getting kind of at the opposite end. This was SSG Gary R. Harper Jr. And in this stage, react to an ambush during a reconnaissance mission. Move between multiple points of cover and eliminate the enemy. And I've been doing a lot of talking. I'll let Mike describe this one. We worked this one for the 5K Saturday, and it was a fun one to watch. It had everyone's favorite targets in it.
Okay, I'm like,
Nice work, Wes.
Yep. So this was Throom City. This was simulating a fairly close-in gunfight. A lot of stuff happening. It was unique because you had a choice. A lot of the Legion stages, in a lot of matches in general, you come into a stage and these are rifle targets and these are pistol targets, and they let shooters have a choice here, and it was pretty wild. So the first essentially they had a triangle of barrels set up in this high grass field, and then kind of at the wide base of the triangle uh, there was three paper targets, torsos low to the ground, um, close to the one barrel, and then kind of neutral beyond the base, not really favoring one side of the probably your farthest shot would have been what, maybe 15 yards, Ryan, from the top of the triangle. So you had throoms and some different sizes. They had some of the smaller ones, and then I think probably the biggest was maybe 3 inches, and there was
Yeah.
6 or 8 of them, and
Three groups of two, so
three
six.
groups of two, six. Okay. So the rules for this engagement was you had to have an arm, a hand, something touching the barrels when you shot. And so there was people that from the first shooting position, it made sense to go ahead and neutralize the paper as it was directly in front of you, and then you are going to run back and to your left. eh, Uh, sorry, from that first position, you would also neutralize 6 rooms. Then you would run back and to your left to the farthest point away. You would, off the top of that barrel, neutralize 6 rooms, and then you would run down and to the left, and you would also neutralize 6 rooms. This is your essentially closest position to the rooms. We saw people try to engage the rooms with a handgun. Um, Folks, don't do that. If you have an option, it is going to be 95% of the time on an optional handgun or rifle stage, you're going to want to shoot your rifle. Especially, I mean, throoms, people. You are talking about trying to hit a hockey puck sized target off the
Not even
top.
a hockey puck.
Yeah,
I
some of
mean,
them were smaller than a hockey puck. I mean, some of them
I think a
you're
hockey
talking.
puck's 6 inches. I mean, that thing's
Yeah.
probably half the size.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, you're talking about, smaller than a dip can, the farthest position, probably 15 yards with your handgun. Don't do that on the clock. Plus, your magazines are not big enough for this challenge, because with Legion, your paper needs 3 rifle impacts to neutralize or 5 pistol. So, just in the first position, you had 3, 6, 9 rifle impacts, or 5, 10, 15 pistol impacts just to neutralize paper. If you're Even if you're carrying extended magazine, you're going to use, for most of them, over half of the ammunition. Then you have to make 6 hits from that first position. So let's say you've got like a 21 round magazine. What's the chance that you're good enough to neutralize all that paper and then the throoms without needing a magazine change?
Yeah,
So
I think the only
rifle
reason,
folks,
yeah, I think the only argument I would have for pistol is if you're ammo conscious of your rifle at that point in the match. Use the pistol on the paper because you don't have to worry about any height over bore to get A hits on it. Which I don't know if they said it. You didn't need A hits; it just need to be anywhere on the target. I think Legions usually got to be A's only. So if you could blast 15 rounds off, holster, and go to rifle, it's not going to be faster than rifle, just rifling the whole thing. But if you're ammo conscious on your rifle, you're worried you're running low. I could see the logic in that. But past that, I mean, we saw people did better on throoms with pistol than I expected. It was still not faster than rifling it.
yeah. And so, like, a really good time on this stage was probably in like 60 seconds range. Um, your top competitors were putting down sub 60-second runs, like Mustang Duck, Gribble on the 5K day. He ran that in 50 seconds and change. I'm fortunate that I've got a match director that loves throoms local to me. And yeah, look at him smile. And so I shoot a decent amount of throoms. And so I was very, quick in being able to move through and neutralize them. I think I was like 42 or 43 seconds on 10K. I also ran a 40 round PMAG on this stage. I'm a pretty big advocate for most running guns. You want at least one 40 round PMAG because a lot of times you can get through a stage where a match director has intended you to have to do a reload with your rifle by throwing like 32 or 33 or 35 rounds out there or like needed hits, and if you're a decent shooter, a 40 rounder can slide you through there. So I ran a 40 rounder. I used my steady shot for my running gun tactics and just went handguard on top of the barrel for the first position. When I was going into the second position, I realized as I started to kneel down that I was probably going to have issues with the like field grass stubble, rosaflora being just high enough to impair my line of sight. So I went elbows and mag for that second position and shot the throoms. And then when I ran into the next position, there was nothing between me and the throoms except the barrel. So I just went right back to the running gun tactics, steady shot, and plopped on top of the barrel and just shot him enough that height over bore is just, completely natural. But yeah, I see a lot of people still struggling with rooms. Folks, this is 2025. Rooms have been in running gun matches now for like over 5 years. I think it's time for you to spend 20 or 30 bucks to get these throoms. You'll shoot them for years and not wear them out, and you'll have a better idea of what you're doing. And the great thing is, if you belong to a range that you can't shoot steel outside of matches, like I do, I can shoot throoms up against the backstop all I want. Um, so throoms, useful tool. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is a good stage. I enjoyed it. There was also some interesting things where shortly after the stage, there was uh, a sign for that you needed to follow a trail, and we watched multiple people leave the stage, and they had their heads down and were just kind of trucking along and blew right by like an 18 by 8-inch sign pointing them the direction they need to go. And I love our fifth group service guys that come out and do this challenge with us. It was really cool. I saw someone that I hadn't seen for quite a few years there. At the same time, I watched several fifth group guys blow through that same intersection. So they're pretty awesome, but they're still mortal, and we still make some mistakes. Doesn't matter how cool, how high speed we are. So keep your head up while you're moving down the trails, especially post stages when you're policing your gear and maybe kicking yourself about how you performed. Um, when you walk away from a stage, stick the lessons in your back pocket so if you have any mistakes, you don't repeat them, and then move on. You got to have your head in the game at all times. Hi, Georgia.
Yeah, I'll here's my other PSA for well, we do enough throoms. I've gotten tired of throoms. Our last match we shot golf balls. So they're significantly smaller than throoms, and they move a lot more when you got them hanging from a string. Here's something me and Mike did. I'll kind of hold this up. We actually, before the Legion on our kind of like range day we did to kind of like check your zero, check your hits at distance. I set up a tripod. We set up a throom, and we shot it at 7.5 yards. Figured out where we needed to hold. Did it at 15. Did it at 25. I write out how many mils I have to hold, and I also draw the throom and draw like where my reticle would be on that. I think even if you never look at that data again, doing it once and kind of hitting these from different things really gives you an idea of where you should be holding on these. It's really not rocket science. If you can hold fairly center and hit the strap, you could probably aim all the way to the top of it. Obviously, getting your round towards the body is giving you your best left and right wiggle room, but they're really not that hard. People make them harder than they need to be. Just have an idea at a couple. I mean, 7.5, 15, 25. If it's 10 yards and I do my 7.5 hold, I'm going to hit it. You know, if I'm 25 yards and it's really 20, probably still going to hit it. Like these aren't rocket surgery, but if you're within that general range, you should be able to hit it. So, that's my lesson there. But like Mike said, buy them. Shipping costs more than the throom itself. I mean, they're like $3 or $4 a piece, I think. And I run a 3-gun match. I had 2 sets of those that we shot for almost 2 years in matches before I finally retired them, and they weren't shot through yet. They were still hanging. They just started actually getting holes in the center. So, they'll last you a lifetime.
Yep,
Uh,
and it's interesting because you can definitely tell the uninitiated people pretty quick. But at the same time, we had one of the leadership from fifth group come out, and that gentleman is in charge of uh, a lot of their training, I guess, and making sure their guys are spun up. And he got run through the stage. It's just kind of the chance to see what it's like. He grabbed Ryan's rifle and grabbed a mag of ammo from me. There's a rifle he's never touched, ammo that's not zeroed for that gun, and within seconds he was clearing those throoms. So tip of the hat to that guy, because even in a leadership position, you could tell he was a shooter.
Yep. Like he just here they are, and we ran him through it, and the guy crushed it. All right, so another little run. This next stage wasn't super far, but you did have a little bit of distance, and like Mike said, we're kind of at the other end of the range at this part. To stage 5, which is Major Paul R. Syverson III. And in this stage, enter a prison in Afghanistan in 2001 and do your best to get out in one piece without killing innocents. Again, the production on this stage was really, really cool.
All right, stand right there, face me. All right, ear pro in. All right,
Yeah.
take all instruction from the RO. I'm gonna guide you backward.
Okay, I'll take all instructions from the RO.
Take a seat.
Okay.
All right, take them, boys.
Ah, another American here.
Another one.
Ah, looks like he's an RO too, I see. Ah, another American. What is your name? What is your name? Answer me.
Steve.
Steve.
Answer faster,
we've been
Steve.
waiting for Steve, yes. All right, scoot back, Steve. Scoot back. Scoot back. Turn to your left. Turn to your left. Rotate to your left. Bring your legs in. The whole body. Keep going, keep going. Scoot back. Scoot back. Straight back. Hurry, hurry. We don't have time. Your friends are close. All right, stop. Where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? Where are you going next? We'll stage 6. Get on your feet. Get on your feet, scum. What is your wait time? What is your wait time? Wait time, where is it?
Quickly.
Yes.
I will shock you if you take longer.
150. Yes. Okay, all right, take him in there.
With me. Walk forward, walk
We've got another one for us.
Big step. And pause.
All right.
Step down.
I see it. Yeah.
Sit down.
All right, when the mask comes off, place your iPro on.
Okay.
You are to engage each steel target with one hit.
Okay, each
Do
steel
not-
target with one hit.
Do not engage the no shoots. You may move as far forward as the closest steel to you, left and right. As soon as you touch your firearm, the timer starts.
Okay, so
Oh crap, here they come! Unload, show clear.
all right. You showed up, they took your rifle, you grounded your rifle. They took your empty pistol and your eye protection. And they had like a really old barn there, like kind of falling apart barn. They had you turn your back to it. You went and sat down, and then a couple fifth group guys stuck a black burlap sack over your head and started yelling at you. Started asking for your name. Where are you going? Where are you coming from? One of them had a taser. They're not tasing you, but like you just if you're not answering quick enough, you got this taser and you're like zit, 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 and they have you stand up and they're like yelling questions at you and this and that and moving you through this barn, and you're trying not to step on stuff. And like, I don't know about you, Mike, like I could see a little bit through the burlap bag. So like I wasn't necessarily, I was kind of looking down, so I wasn't like tripping on stuff, but there's junk everywhere. Like I said, they're yelling, asking questions. I'm lying to them about my name and where I'm going. I told them I was Steve, and um, just making stuff up. And like, I think those guys had a great time all weekend because they really got into they're kind of doing a voice when they're doing it, and like, you know, it was the production was great. So they bring you to another door. You step down on the flat ground. They hand you your glasses in your hand, and I think the cue you got is when they remove the burlap sap, put your eyewear on. As soon as you grab your gun, the timer starts, and you have to neutralize all of the enemies without shooting any good guys. So in this case, the good guys are brown paper targets, but they have hands spray painted on them. So if you see hands, don't shoot it. And in this stage, it was 10 steel targets in a sea of these. So there's a lot of targets out there, and there's a ton of no shoots. So they take the burlap back off, put your glasses on, you grab the gun, your pistol, load it up, and go to town shooting. Again, make sure I went 1 for 1. I was really happy with my shooting. It was not the fastest out there. I'm positive of that. You did have to move a little left and right to get angles on it, but not a super long stage when all things are considered, said and done, but like just production wise, like the pistol shooting challenge was definitely there. I mean, I know there was one on the far, I don't know if you remember it, Mike, there was one on the far left that you really had to kind of go to the right, and you didn't have a full piece of steel. Like it was a hostage type shot. So it would have been very easy to plug a no shoot on that. Your thoughts on that, Mike?
I enjoyed that a lot. It was pretty weird, when they're like, "Hey, I need your pistol. You leave your rifle here." When I got there, because of how cold it was that morning, they're like, "I need your glasses." I pull them off my head, and there was like frost. I'm like taking my gloves and scraping frost off my lenses. I'm like, that was pretty wild, de-icing. And so I hand all that stuff over to them, and uh, one of the guys that ROs that I actually know a little bit. He was the guy that kind of like started to position me outside the barn to get snatched. And it was funny because I like the guy. He's a great guy, but he grabs my chest rig. And, I've got this terrible thing where my face sometimes will say things that I'm not meaning to advertise. And so Lisa Stennett, who does a lot of the photography for this match, her husband is the match director. She got this absolutely hilarious picture of this guy. He's grabbed my chest rig and he's pushing me backwards, and I've got this absolute snarl on my face. It's hilarious. But he kind of pushes me against the door frame, and then whoop, there comes the bag, and I was the first guy out on the 10K. And so a couple guys grab me, they rip me back into this barn, and they launch in their dialogue, and I'm trying to remember, sear, what, like, you and so like I'm feeding them half truths about, like who I am, where I'm going, this kind of stuff. Not giving them the full picture, but like giving them like a little something that might not be completely relevant, but it's something. And they rip the bag off, show me this page off this old magazine that they must have found in the building, rip it back down, start questions about this thing that I didn't have really time to see it. And then after a couple minutes, they pick me back up onto my feet, start shoving me through, and pop me out the backside. And so this is one of those things where they give you the presentation and set you up where, like, once you rip the hood off, you can really go. But you didn't have to. And that's kind of where experience comes into play, because they didn't start the timer until your hand touched your gun. So I let him rip the sack off, and I could tell from Ryan's video there was a small difference in RO day from where they put your gear. Um, but they didn't give me a real good description about like how far I can move, like my lateral limits, left or right, forward, backwards. And so I I let him rip the bag off. I step up, take a couple steps right and left, trying to get a good feel for where my targets are. Okay, grab my pistol and start going to work. And once I kind of ran into, like, I'm starting to get into some crummy target presentations, I start take off going forward because they didn't tell me I couldn't. And they're like, "Whoa, whoa, stop, come back, come back." And I'm like, "How far? You need to come back." I took a couple steps back and I'm almost to the table. I'm like, where? And they're kind of, whoa, and I'm first guy out on competitor day. I'm supposed to find these hiccups, and so I'm like, I think maybe I'm far enough back. I did a hard lean, hit my last target to stop the clock. Um, so it definitely wasn't the best time of the day, but I feel like that stage could have gone a whole lot worse if I just kept going back and back and back and back, because I didn't really know where I needed to go backwards. But like the production value on that stage with like getting ripped into a building and a burlap sack over your head, like come on, where else are you really going to get that experience? There's a handful of matches that have tried it, but in this context, it was a ton of fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't say that I really want to experience getting snatched again. Um, but at the same time, like they pulled it off in a great way.
Yeah, I mean, I remember they told me you could go, because I just watched the video recently, that you could go as far forward as the closest target, which I didn't get anywhere near that close because none of the targets got out that far. It would have been not safe to go that far forward. The other thing is and I would have been smart to do what Mike did and wait till I grabbed my pistol, but like they took it off as I was getting the glasses on. They had someone with, like, I don't know if they were shooting blanks or just firing into a safe distance, but someone actually started firing a gun and, get down and, start shooting or whatever. So like there was kind of that like cue, in your head, you hear fire going, you hear someone saying like, get going. I'm grabbing the gun and going, I'm not thinking like, hey, it's still a game. I should like check out these targets like Mike suggested. I mean, nothing was
Yeah,
stopping me from doing it, but I mean, it just shows you when things start happening, you just start reacting, and it's
yeah,
not always to your best interest.
yep. And my guess is because of they had your gun right next to the door versus they had mine like 10 feet out the front of the building, and that's like it's tough. They try to have the competitive equity, but they'll see things that they'll try to shift. My guess was RO day. The ROs had a lot more freedom of movement to go forward, left, right. Um, hearing, seeing Ryan's video and hearing some of the other guys, my guess on competitor day is they wanted you to kind of stand behind the where your pay like the tape. It wasn't a table. I think it was like a reel for like wire or whatever, a spool. I think they probably wanted the competitors on competitor day to kind of stay behind it. Probably maybe left right movement, but behind it. And I think that I might have just derailed them. But like on RO day, sometimes things get shifted to try to make the match flow a little bit better. Uh, Guys like match directors, if it's a huge shift, then they'll normally try to do something to account for that between the days. But again, like even being the very first shooter out on competitor day, sometimes you find hiccups that people weren't ready for. Um, so you still got to be able to adapt and overcome and push through. So
Yeah, I
all right,
mean,
I won't
yeah,
ramble.
yeah. You see safety things ROing, and you're like, I know someone else did that. but I can't let anyone else do that because, it's not safe or, whatever it is. So, this ends part 1. Part 2 will be uploaded here. So if you haven't found that one, go check out part 2.